Hi everyone and welcome. I was recently contacted by a YouTuber who asked if I had any more old transistor radios left that I could do some reviews on, and the answer to that is very much yes. I've got plenty to get through. So today we've got for review this Ferranti PT1031 6 transistor radio from around about 1960. Now, as you can tell from 1960, this is indeed very much a compact and modern looking radio. They actually pushed the boat out with this, and if we compare this with their model PT1010 that they released only 2 years early to this, and here we have it, you can see what a contrast. Again, this is 6 transistors, but this is much more reminiscent of the old valve attache radio so you used to get between the early and mid 1950s. And if you're interested, I'll do a review on this, so please just pop across my channel. Now, if this looks familiar to a few of you, then Dynatron also produced a very similar looking radio. This, in fact, they used the same sort of chassis and a few of the same controls as well. Dynatron were very much an upmarket radio manufacturer, and what they had with their particular version, they had Dynatron emblazoned in big letters on the front. They had a brown sort of rear cover to it, and they also added both a car aerial socket and a socket for an earphone. And I think they even supplied the earphone in a little leather pouch, so a little bit more pricier and a little bit more upmarket. This is kind of like the budget end, if you like, but even though it's perhaps at the more budget end, it still costs quite a lot of money. And in comparing with the amount that you paid back in the day for how much that would be worth now, this would actually cost the equivalent to around about £300 or $400. So nevertheless, it is what's actually quite a considered purchase. Now, the condition of this, as you can see, it's grubby, it's got some cracks, it's got some chips, etc., and also both the dial and the logo have faded right out. But I'm going to keep it for the simple reason is it's quite a rare set. Now, would you believe for 62 years old, this has had nothing done to it and it still works? And no doubt some of the capacitors in there are starting to sort of go out of spec and starting to get leaky, etc., but I'm not going to replace them because it still works, and if you're not broke, why fix it? Now then, this is both a medium wave and long wave radio, but all you've got control wise is the on off volume, and you've got the tuning dial, and that's it. There's no more switches, so you'd expect to see a medium wave and long wave switch. In fact, what it is medium wave and long wave, but the long wave is a preset station, and the way you select is as you go around the dial and you're tuning, when you come to the point where the long wave channel is actually sort of identified, there's a little switch inside that clicks that over and brings on a preset capacitor, and it actually tunes in just that one preset station. Now, back in the day, they used to have a program called the Light program that was on long wave on 1500 meters, and it so happens that today's Radio 4 is in fact about the same sort of frequency as well. So this is still sort of fully functional and still very much usable. What I'm going to do with this, it's filthy as you can tell, but I'm going to take it apart. I'll quickly take you through it. We're going to disassemble it, we're going to clean it, put it back together, and then we're going to power it up and see how it performs. So what I'm going to do now is take it apart and we'll take it from there. Okay, so first thing we need to do is remove the rear cover. It's held in there with a single brass screw. It's got a wide slot to take the edge of a coin, so I'm just using the coin there just to unscrew it. Start that off and just unscrew and take the rear cover off. Just use an old cloth there just to grip the radar, just make it a bit easier. These used to use old PP4 batteries. They used to be cylindrical in shape, 9-volt batteries, which are now long gone. Similar size to a C-size battery, as you can see there, with lugs on the top and on the bottom. So what I've had to actually do with this is convert it to a PP3 battery simply by just putting a PP3 battery clip, soldering it to the existing connections, and then putting some black heat shrink, as you can see there. So if I get a PP3 battery, you can just about see it just about sort of fits into there. So I'm just going to top those back into the battery compartment. The board itself is not brilliant in terms of some of the solder connections, but nevertheless it's functional. You can see that it's even got a handwritten sort of serial number on it, so typical of the 1960s really. So first thing we need to do now then is to turn it over. To remove the board, there's actually 3 screws hidden behind the tuning dial there. And just to let you know, on that tuning dial, it's actually a 2-speed dial. It's actually got a coarse and a fine sort of tuning speed. So the outer ring there, as you move it, it sort of is your coarse tuning. And then if you use the inner dial there, that will actually do your fine tuning. So it's actually quite a nice feature to have on such a radio. So what we need to do to take that off, we simply just get the screwdriver, engage in the little slots there, as you can see on the brass finishing piece there, and unscrew that. That comes off easily enough. Take off the inner knob, and then what we need to do is align the two shafts of the two speaker of capacitor there, so they align up, and then that will allow us then to remove the outer dial. It's a little bit fiddly, just need to just take your time there. Hopefully it will come off. There we go. And you've also then got the felt liner as well. That reveals then the original colour of the radio. You can see it was a lot sort of lighter. Obviously over the years it's aged, but nevertheless it's fine. And then it's got your 3 screws there that engage onto the capacitor that holds the PC board in. So let's unscrew those. They're very short, so just make sure that we don't lose those. And number 3, oops. And there we go. Make sure we don't lose that one. Turn it upside down, and there we have it. So I'm just going to turn the PC board over, just do that gently. There we go. Just going to turn it around so you've got a better look. Considering this is 1960, they actually did a very good job at cramming everything in, because these components, they're not sort of some miniature components that you get into a pocket transistor radio, so they're still quite large for the day. So typically there we've actually got the tuning capacitor, that's quite big, as well as the 4 IFT cans there. We've got 2 audio transformers as well, so they're still quite substantial units. So what I'm actually going to do with all the OC series of transistors, I'll actually just show you where these are located, and I'll highlight the various sort of types that were there within the actual PC board. So I'm going to show that for you now. So we just need to remove the PC board now itself, and I'm just going to move that just out the way gently, and hopefully there just revealed the loudspeaker. That's the only other item that's actually screwed to the cabinet. And interestingly enough, they actually utilise posi drive screws there, as opposed to slotted that was utilised to hold the PC board on itself. So let's undo those clamps. As you can see there, we've got a sponge seal, but that's long deteriorated, but that doesn't really matter. So let's get those clamps undone. So here's number 1.
A little bit fiddly. Just make sure you don't lose those screws. Oh, doing that, there we go. That's number 2. Let's just remove that one. And number 3. We're going to close. Oops. No, it's fighting back. Let's get that screw. There we go, just unhook that. Let's get the safety to one side. Also still constant.
And then we've got the last one there. Let's get that one undone. Okay. There we go. Let's see if we can just gently remove that speaker. Hopefully it's undamaged. Yeah, that's fine. It's just a little bit dusty. And then we've got just the grill cloth itself. So what we need to do now is give this girl a damn good scrub, and then we can reassemble her. Okay, so it didn't clean up too badly. It's better than what it was. A few bits I couldn't get out, but anyway, let's see if we can try and reassemble it and see how she sounds. So let's pop the speaker back in. We can do that. Just need to align the clamps up with the speaker. Let's get that to sit right. Let's pop these in. They're a little bit tricky, so bear with me with this. There's number 1. So we can do that. There we go. Okay, so all 4 clamps are in. Let's put the PC board back and get it to sit correctly. Turn this around. That wiring's just a little bit snaggy. Is that about right? Yep. Okay, so we need to pop in now the 3 screws on the front. There's number 1. 2. Number 3. Let's get that dial back in there if we can. There we go. Oops, I forgot. Forgot the little felt spacer. There we go. Sorry, I keep getting out of shot. Okay. Now we need to pop a battery onto it. Squeeze that in. Just about goes in with a little bit of fiddle. Okay. Let's have a look. One thing I didn't quite show you, you might not be able to see now, but that's where the little trimmer is for where we got that one long wave station there. So you can always adjust that if you just out of just alignment just that little bit. So let's pop the cover back on. And let's keep your fingers crossed that it actually works after all this. We're on square-ish. Okay, so what have we got? Oh, it's picking up all my lights.
After Liverpool closed the gap 3 points after their 2-0 victory at Brighton early today, and then Champions League football again Tuesday and Wednesday.
Rapali from New York saying Nadia, it's snowing, so I am cooking some.
Hundreds of branches, usually only 13 minutes away. Find yours now. To the City Ground on. We were 1-0 behind last time. 1-0 behind, yeah. They've pulled it back, they're now in.
That's from Radio 4.
I think some women are choosing to stay in the country. I think it is understandable.
To be honest, for a 62-year-old radio that had no work done to it, that's not bad at all. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, then pop across my channel. There's plenty of other radios for review, vintage and modern. As always, appreciate you watching, and I'll catch up with you soon.